I think with me going back to the city of Newark, going back to Shabazz, it's not just going to be about me being a football coach. I'm going to be a mentor for these young guys. And we're going to learn all the things that I learned through my experiences, right? How to brand yourself, what to put on social media, how to dress for an interview, how to shake someone's hands, look them in the eyes, right? That's where I come in at, because that's the thing that get lost in translation, but those are the things that helps you win at life.
We here in the studio.
A lot of these offers don't be that real, so it's not committable.
That feel like when everybody's getting their turn and it's not yours. What they call you? Godfather, New Jersey. You
Powerful man. I ain't gonna brag, but that's what they said. I ain't say that.
New Year, people. New Year. Welcome back, man. We kicking off the New Year's. We got Coach Nas Oliver hot off the press after just taking the head coaching job at Shabazz High School. After a bunch of years at St. Peter's Prep as a player, as a coach. So we had to jump at this opportunity to get on this and see, what that's like, what's gonna be like for him, man. You're young. He's a head coach. Just left being a position coach. Going back to the city of Newark, which last I checked, Newark has open enrollment. Like kids can play anywhere, right? They're not designated to a school based on what side of town they live in. So you got a lot of pieces to mess with, man. I'm fortunate enough when I do these type of interviews to have Nas here that can bring us all through the history, man, of where it started, where it went, where it was, and how we got here, man.
Hey, man, it's just an honor, to just be sitting here with this young man here. I got the opportunity to see him when he was a kid growing up, playing football and things like that. I wanted to know, what started you playing football? Like, who kind of like put the ball in your hand and when they kind of started winning,
This is actually a funny story, man. I actually started playing football in the South Ward of Newark, which kind of brings everything full circle. I started in the Newark Pop Warner League for the South Ward Golden Bears, playing for Coach Pat, who's now the South Ward Councilman in Newark.
Shout out to Pat, man.
Coach Nutt, those are my first two coaches, and it's crazy how everything just comes full circle, man. So
I was able to coach against them. You know what I'm saying? Well, my first year as a coach.
So you was with Newark Pop Warner. That's what you was the Scorpions.
I was with the Scorpions, 2004. We in our first round regional game, and then they we got to play this team from Union called the Union Rams. And they had a running back on the team, Nas Oliver. He was supposed to be the best running back in the state. Never played past halftime. So I'm about to tell you a funny story, and this is all true. So I drives out to New Brunswick, 11:30 at night, see my guy, gave me the tape on him when they played New Brunswick. Sure enough, kid ain't play after halftime. I said, oh, he out of his equipment. He was kicking up. So I said, nah, I gotta see this up close. So we drive, me, Coach Marcus, and Coach Terrain. Coach Terrain had this Caprice 10 in the loose. He was a police officer. And he had binoculars, like real binoculars. So we had the field in Union, and we watching him run laps. He must have been like a little banged up, I don't know, but he ain't had no equipment on. But he had his pants, and he just running. I'm like, man, I ain't getting nothing from this. But he looked good, like his body, his size, and everything. So long story short, we walking into the arena. I looks up in the stands. Now I see his dad, which is my guy Hawk, and Duhawk. I'm like, oh man, thanks for coming to support us, man. They're like, nah, we here for him over there, number 5. He gonna have like 300 yards rushing. I said, what? Oh man, I was hurt that I saw my Newark brothers with Union. We end up beating them 25-12, but I can honestly say this now. This kid gave me headaches, and in that game, he was going off. I could see the flash that they was talking about, but we had a little squad,
Well, who'd you have on that squad? Was that the squad you had with
I had a kid named Taekwon Tucker. Tyke was real big. Ali, Khalif, and all these guys, they were real good. I mean, we were good too. But he went to school with some of the kids up at university, and this way you could have the thing about him was he was really younger than them. So my kid was 14. He had to be 13.
Yeah, 12, 13.
And it was just, I was like, whoa, this kid is, I knew he was gonna be something. And then to come to find out he had all the big name schools after him. He had the Don Boscos. At this time, Huston Catholic was jumping. So I believe you ended up going to Hudson Catholic. So
You went to Hudson Catholic as a freshman?
So could you tell a story?
So this story is bizarre. It's a bizarre story. So Hudson Catholic ended up grabbing me up. So going into my freshman year, I was at Hudson Catholic. So that whole summer fall camp, I was at Hudson Catholic. So guess who we played first game of the season?
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's Prep. So I'm starting at Hudson Catholic as a freshman.
On varsity?
On varsity. I'm starting linebacker. I'm starting will linebacker. I'm probably like 5'9", 5'10", 165 starting linebacker against that O-line. So
that's Lampkin and them is a little after that.
Nah,
right?
that's way after that.
Okay.
That's way after
All
that.
right.
But make a long story short, man, we ended up playing St. Peter's Prep. I scored twice as a freshman in garbage time. I'm gonna give him that. It was in garbage time. I had about 10, 12 tackles, but my body was beat up. So I go to my dad after the game. I'm like, Dad, I don't know. I was a little discouraged. You know, I'm a freshman. Like I'm thinking we're gonna get instant success. I'm thinking we putting something real special together at Hudson. I'm like, Dad, man, I think I made the wrong decision. That next Monday, I was a student at St. Peter's Prep. That next Monday, brother, after the game, and how it happened was crazy because school didn't start yet. So I think it was like a week 0 game or something like that. School wasn't in session, so I was able to transfer. And I know Coach Hanson and Coach Stern. Coach Stern was the head coach at the time. They made a pact. And they was like, yo, he can't play varsity for you this year. He has to play freshman and JV. So that my first year at prep, which was the year we actually won a state championship.
That's 04?
05.
05. Okay, so you was a freshman when Jason and Devin and them was juniors.
Yes.
The McCourty?
Yeah, that's when he was running around. Okay, Cushion and Toll and all of them was still around.
They were seniors.
Yeah, it was.
His freshman year, they was junior. Toll and them was seniors.
Yeah, it was
Cushion,
real.
Toll.
It was real.
Yeah.
So what was it like playing for a coach like Coach Hanson?
Man, me and Coach Hanson, we have a great relationship. Like I look at him like he's like a father figure to me. You know, I used to stay the night at his house. You know, when I was in high school. And to be honest, man, like our relationship now, it's like he showed me tough love. You get what I'm saying? He's honest with me, brutally honest with me, and I developed my edge and how I am today because of a coach like him.
Wow.
Like, and it's in my DNA to like, I don't know, it's weird, man. It's like I'm a dog, and I'm a dog. I developed that dog type mentality because of him.
People don't know, man. He got St. Peter's Prep actually tatted on him. The brotherhood. It's almost like the Duke atmosphere at a high school level. So now you in high school, and then you get down. At one point, you was like one of the hottest tickets in the state at the time, playing both sides of the ball. Actually, you was a running back, and then you played defensive back. Now, leading up to all of that, you getting all these offers and things like that. How was you able, and what was your circle like for you to make that decision? And could you tell them, like, what was your top 3 choices at the end?
So my top 3 choices, man. So I gotta just go through the story.
Yeah.
So my junior year, my dad, I got invited to summer camp because you got a camp. So I go down to summer camp at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. They offered me down there on the spot. So I love the campus. You know, it was my first time, being on an SEC campus. So I committed on the spot. I committed to Coach Fulmer. And then as the season went on, Tennessee wasn't doing too well. So then Notre Dame then jumped in the mix. So I ended up taking an official visit to Notre Dame during the season. And then that's when I ended up decommitting from Tennessee and committing to Notre Dame.
So you just visiting schools committing and shit.
Hey, man, listen, man. I was a kid from Newark, man. I was experiencing all this for the first time. And my parents, to be honest, man, my parents didn't really, starstruck. They didn't really know a lot about what was happening. Everything was just happening very fast. Like, it was just moving. So I committed to Notre Dame. Charlie Weiss was the coach then. And then he was on a hot seat. He ended up getting fired, and Coach Fulmer ended up getting fired. So it's down to the wire. Signing day is about a few weeks away. I had my in-home visit with Notre Dame. Charlie Weiss then flew up. My mom and cooked her best baked ziti for him, you know. And then a few weeks later, Coach Ianello, shout out to Coach Ianello. He probably still don't even like me to this day, to be honest with you. He's at the University of Kansas right now. But he comes to St. Peter's Prep. He's trying to lock me in.
From what school?
He was at Notre Dame.
Okay.
He's at the University of Kansas now, though.
Okay.
He's trying to lock his last bit of recruits in. You know, before signing day, you got to lock your guys in, make sure they ready to go. So I'm like, Coach Ianello, I don't know how I'm feeling right now, because this one Lane Kiffin just got hired at Tennessee. Lane Kiffin and Monty Kiffin have reached out like, man, look, we saw that you was committed to Tennessee. We want you to get back down here for official, and we trying to get you back in the fold. Sure enough, I tell Coach Ianello from Notre Dame, I don't know if I'm sure. I want to go see Tennessee one more time before I make a decision. He's like, man, if you go on this visit, we're done with you. I was like, man, that's all I needed to hear. So, you know, as a young 17, 18-year-old kid, I went on my visit back to Tennessee, and I committed to under Kiffin. I committed to Kiffin. I committed to Tennessee again. So as you can see, those last few months of my senior year, it was crazy. It was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Notre Dame, back to Tennessee. It was crazy.
But that leads to your experience now, like how to.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely have. I see things from a bird's eye view now, and because I could look back and see my thought process as a 17, 18-year-old kid, and obviously, you know, things are a lot different now. Recruiting is way different, but I feel like I could definitely guide kids and, you know, tell them things from my experience to help them navigate their experience.
So that's what I was going to ask, because your other role at St. Peter's is recruiting coordinator, right?
Yes, yep.
So I know for like myself, when it comes to whether it's high school or whether it's college, you know, I have my opinion on where kids could go, but I'm a person, and I guess I'm somewhat of a punk, right? Because I feel like people want you to tell them what to do so they can have somebody to hold responsible if it don't go right, right? And most times these things don't go right.
We call that blood on your hands.
Yeah, most times it don't go right. So this is something I refrain from. I'm like, listen, I can educate you on, you know, the pros and cons, but you got to make that decision.
Yeah.
As a recruiting coordinator, also being their DB coach and a coach on the staff, do you feel pressure to actually give them more than that? Like, when I say more than that, like, are you just like, yo, here's the pros and cons, this is what I talked to them about, make a decision? Or do you feel like I got to be for them what I needed, which is, listen, man, you over your head, or you can play, you can go there, right? But are they going to need you? You know, like really telling them like what you would have needed back then.
It's definitely a lot of pressure. Because obviously being a coach, I want my kids to go somewhere where they could be successful. Like that's my number one goal. My number one goal is making sure all my kids, they go somewhere where they can play, they can be happy, and they can get a degree, and hopefully they can play at the next level if, you know, God blesses them with that. But at the end of the day, it's very, very stressful going through these processes with them, because now everybody has, you know, their circle of trust, you know. And to be honest with you, in some instances, some parents, which I respect, I'm not in their circle of trust, and I'm okay with that. You know, some parents, they want to confide in me and add me to that, and I just play it by ear, to be honest with you. And I think I had to learn that, and I had to navigate that to try to, you know, be as efficient as possible, so that we get to that common goal of getting these guys in school.
So it's funny to hear you say that, right? Because then I hear you start to date yourself, right? And you're younger than us, but that's kind of how, like, when you were in high school, recruitment, your head coach had a lot to do with that, right? Like,
yes,
I can remember a time, you know, a kid around my way called me for help in regards to recruiting, and then he went to school, got called down to the office, and one of the coaches told him, because I spoke to a school on his behalf, I don't know what you're up to, but I'll make you lose every offer. That can't happen today because, as you said, there's these different circles. But when you were younger, when I was younger, you know, you sat down with your coach, and your coach had so much power that he had enough power to say, you got Tennessee, you got Notre Dame, listen, Clemson and the rest of you guys, I'm not even going to talk to him about. You two are my guys. I'm going to talk to you about Notre Dame and Tennessee. You might not even know you had 30 other offers, right?
Yeah.
So now we are in a space where you come back and you're the recruiting coordinator, and this is what you remember high school as being like, and then you see, you know, the multiple other circles. Like, how do you adjust to that? And how long does it take you to adjust to that?
It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot because you sometimes you don't know who's communicating with who. You don't know who's doing back deals, man. With this NIL stuff and young guys getting, you know, attorneys and agents and stuff now, it's a lot different. You know, it's scary in a way. You get what I'm saying? Because now the parents don't know who to trust. The parents don't know who has their son's best interests at heart. So in my role, I just try to, at St. Peter's Prep, we did a great job of Coach Hanson. We always have at least 2 informational seminars to where we break down everything for the parents, from recruiting to how the NCAA eligibility center works, what are core classes, what your core GPA should be, even to what the band systems are to get accepted to an Ivy League school. We got a guy, London Robinson, shout out to him. He's going to Princeton. That's a big deal.
Shout out to London Robinson.
What's a band system? So
basically the band system is how a Ivy League program decides where you fall to kind of determine relative to all the other students what kind of student. So basically it's like a point system. So if you're an athlete, you get more points. Depending on your GPA, your SAT score, and it's relative to everybody else who's applying to that Ivy League school. It puts you in a band, basically.
So it's like a civil service test.
Exactly. Exactly. And to be honest, a lot of parents don't know that type of information. Like, how does this work? Things like that. I have a good buddy of mine at Princeton, Coach Mike Willis, and he's like an open book with educating me on that, because I want to make sure that our kids have as many options as possible. You know, I don't want to cut off. I don't like it's all about them having Division I opportunities, Division II, NAIA, Ivy League, because there's a place for all kids, and I think that's the most important piece that gets lost in all this.
So what's it like for you as the recruiting coordinator? You know, obviously you coach the kids too, so you can assess their abilities. When you see, and I know you see it because all of the coaches see it, like when you see a kid committing basically what I want to call athletic suicide, right? And what I mean by that is there's opportunities for them that you've worked hard to get them. You speak to these coaches, right? Because this is one thing I want to say on the camera, right? And I don't care if you're at, and I'm going to talk about the big schools, because the big schools, obviously, with the exception probably of Irvington, turn out the most Division I kids per capita every year. What you'll hear a lot of times is this one didn't get this scholarship, so that meant that the school didn't do nothing for them. And in my opinion, I always say a school gets more out of sending you to the best opportunities possible than they do about doing railroading you. Like, no coach sees a kid and says, you know what, I just want to screw him over, right? So, and I think these narratives comes because people refuse to believe, although you believe, you know, little Quan is a Power 5 FBS. 60,000 Power 5 FBS walk through the building and you sell little Quan and they say, no, we're not interested in that. But then, you know, FCS school comes and we want them, we love them. But somebody in this other circle has told them they're a Power 5 kid. You know, so have you seen situations like that?
Absolutely.
And what is it like for you? Like, do you fight tooth and nail, or is it kind of like his circle isn't really involving me and asking me, like, how do you handle that?
It's tough because I've experienced situations to where a kid will kind of shun me because I'm telling him the truth, and then he'll like go somewhere else. He'll gravitate somewhere else to where that person or that circle is telling them exactly what they want to hear, and it's a tough battle, man. It's very tough, and sometimes it's too late. But at the end of the day, man, it's a war with it's a war behind the scenes. To be honest with you, it's a war behind the scenes, and it's a lot of stuff that goes on that a lot of people don't know, and I think it's important for kids going through this process to really find people that they trust and not just gravitate towards people telling them everything they need to hear, because that's not the real world. That's not real life, right? You need, in order for you to grow, you have to accept hard criticism, and you got to be able to accept that criticism so you could get better and move forward.
Got you. Hey, Nas, I just wanted to ask you, what was it that made you like want to get into coaching? Like when did the light bulb just hit? Say, yo, I just want to come back. And
I think it was when I graduated from University of Tennessee. My experience at Tennessee obviously didn't go as planned, you know. Tore my ACL my freshman year. I was actually slated. A lot of people don't know this. I redshirted my freshman year, and then that following year, I was going to be a redshirt freshman. And that spring season, during spring ball, I was the starter. I was listed as a starter. So if I would have made it through that spring into the season, I probably would have been a starting cornerback as a redshirt freshman in the SEC.
wow.
But I ended up tearing my ACL. Everything happens for a reason. And then the following year, I ended up breaking my wrist. So all that just showed me I had to do a lot of self-work. I had to do a lot of, it taught me humility. You know what I'm saying? It taught me a lot about myself. It really made me do a deep dive and look myself in the mirror like, dang, man, you went to a SEC school when you could have went to University of Notre Dame that had and I love my alma mater, University of Tennessee, don't get me wrong, right? But if I could do it all over again, I probably would have, went to University of Notre Dame just because that academic piece.
And the connections and everything.
And the connections and everything like that. However, everything that happened to me, it created this.
That's
what
right.
you see today.
That's
It was
right.
already written.
It was already written. I needed to go through all that to get to this place right here, to where you're asking me, hey, what makes you want to give back? I want to give back because I want to give back to the young 16, 17. I'm looking in the mirror when I see them. You know what I'm saying? When I see them, I see a young me.
Yeah.
And if it's more me out here that's really, I don't have no, you could ask Jaden Bonsu, right? When Bonsu blew up, I always told him, all my guys, I tell them, look, man, I love y'all so much. I don't do this for no clout. I don't want nothing from y'all. You make it to the league, you do anything, NIL, whatever. I don't want a dime, ever. I don't want, like, I'm here for you. I love y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's for all my players. But that's why I decided to coach, man, just to give back and really, get that energy and that passion. Like, I'm passionate about this.
What was it like coaching a kid like Bonsu? Because, knowing where Bonsu come from and a little bit of his history, and then coming to prep as a junior with no offers, no stars. What was that like? What was that process like?
It's funny, man, because when he first, I remember when Big J, Jason and his mom, Brittany, shout out to both of them.
So
man.
shout out to
Jason is dad,
Bonsu,
Brittany is mom.
Brittany is mom.
Okay. Yeah.
Jason is dad, Brittany is mom. I remember I'm walking out of the pack. I'm walking off the field, and then I see him, his mom and his dad walking onto the field. So I'm like, oh, it's about to happen, because we've been in communication. It's been brewing, but when I seen him that day, I was like, oh, this must be real. So I'm like, yo, Jay, you ready? It's time. And when I seen him, and the first couple of days, the first couple of weeks, I knew he had to really fill it out, and I knew he didn't have the confidence that I expected him to have. I expected him to have much more confidence, but I knew during that time, I knew I had to be the one to instill that confidence in him. I knew that was my job then, and that's all I did. Every day I saw him in the practice field doing the stretch lines, I'd be like, yo, you're gonna be the first 0 to 5 star in history, right? you know you're gonna have. I'm like, what's your dream school? He said University of Georgia. I said, you know you're gonna get that, right? That's all gonna happen.
Wow.
But you gotta put the work in every day. And from then, he took off. And I remember, funny story, man. I had to beg to get his first offer. I was on the phone. I remember sitting in front of my apartment building, and I was calling coaches. Hey Quez, Marquise Watson, I got to put you on blast. I called Ole Miss, all my boys. Savon called Boston College. I called all my boys that's coaching at the college level.
You got a lot of them. That's one thing I can say. Prep got a lot of young boys out there.
Trey Bell, he was at Florida State at the time. I'm like, yo, y'all got to jump on this kid right now because he's gonna blow up. Like, nah, bro.
Nobody want to be first. That's what I noticed. Nobody want to be first.
Nobody. I'm like, all right, I'm telling y'all. Coach Henry Baker, University of Maryland, I'm talking to him. I'm like, Coach, man, this is the guy. This is it. He's like, you know what, Nas, I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. University of Maryland offered. The rest was history. The rest was history. And it's it just shows that, man, like, how this thing worked, man. It's just everybody's story is different, but at the same time, it's the same ingredients going to it. You got to work hard, got to have good grades, got to have humility, got to be humble, and you got to trust the process because everybody's process is different. Run your race. Don't worry about the next man.
That's right. Coach, you was there, 5 years at Prep?
Yeah, so I was there. I was there 5 years in total. Mm-hmm. When I first graduated from college, I coached there 1 year, and then I went to go GA. Mm-hmm. At University of
you got your college experience.
University
Virginia Union.
Virginia Union University, HBCU.
Yes, shout out to that. So shout out to Coach Kells as well. We're gonna get into that. But I wanted to
before we move on from that. Oh, you're not even there because I'm talking as a recruiting coordinator. There's the Jaden Byers kid right now from St. John's
Hamilton. He's about to be the Division II Player of the Year. He broke almost all the records.
Now this is where I'm getting chills.
He broke all the records.
Because had you still been sitting here as the St. Peter's DB recruiting coordinator, I would told you to tell them that Jalen Klein is the next Jaden Byers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He fits the same exact mold.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Same exact mold.
He broke and he's a sophomore. He broke every Division II Virginia Union record. He's up for all these historic awards. It's crazy.
Wow.
And that's where college has changed from when he was in school to now that kids don't understand is when you were in school, you transfer, that can pretty much be the end of you. Because for one, it takes a lot to get them to sign off for you to transfer. And then most of the time they sign off to send you to purgatory, right? And then you get there, you got to sit a year and it's like the world forgot you. Mm-hmm. Today, you could be a Jada Byers at Virginia Union and then pop up at Vanderbilt as the starting tailback the next year because you're decorated, right? And that's what a lot of kids don't know. We watching kids turn down smaller opportunities because they feel they're bigger than that. If you really go tear that up and they gonna come get you.
The guy Johnny from New York, Stepanak, he went to Rhode Island and he the number one in the portal. Hey yo, let me tell you a story. Yo, that Shiano group, with the group before that, I met him and his mother could vouch for this. He walked in Rutgers. Augie know. I reached out. I called Augie. I said, yo, Augie, you got to get this kid. He's a pro.
Augie know him. They had him at Joe's.
A pro. I said this when I watched him walk in. Yo, nobody in Rutgers will offer him. I was begging. I'm like, please. We were up at the school. I'm like, I didn't even know him. I just saw his body. They sent me to huddle. I was like, yo, this kid good dog.
The number one.
Went to Rhode Island and blew up. But I wanted to ask you, here we go now. We got to get to the butter. You know what I mean? Get the butter from the duck. Why Shabazz?
Shabazz is just, I remember growing up, right? Growing up, city of Newark, when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, my dad used to take me to Shabazz games. I used to go to Shabazz games. I used to go to weekday games. But Shabazz, the doghouse was different.
Yeah.
The band was different. Friday nights in Newark, Shabazz was different when I was growing up. Yeah. So I vividly remember, how that place was. And that just don't go away.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying? And I know that me coming back to my community, just getting everybody behind me, getting everybody behind this thing I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I know I could awaken a beast. Shabazz is a sleeping giant in the city of Newark, Essex County, in the state, and it's my job to wake it up.
All right, Coach. So I'm gonna look at the camera and ask you flat out. You nervous?
I mean, of course I'm nervous. I'm a first-time head coach, but at the end of the day, there's no fear in my heart, right? I'm facing everything. I'm facing everything that comes my way.
You know, you're leaving your alma mater, high-level football, nationally you recognize the ranked program, and you're going to try and build a program that Nas and I sat here all year and reported whipping after whipping, choke out after choke out, right? So you basically leaving the penthouse, you know, and you going out in the woods to try to build something. What do you feel your first order of business is?
First order of business, man, is just the parents, number one, meeting my parents, meeting my players, and meeting the alumni, right? I have to start building that community factor and bringing the community together. This thing is not going to happen, right? I don't know which camera I need to look in, but this camera, I mean, this thing is not going to happen without my community, and that's the city of Newark. And I believe that we could do this, but it's going to take all of us. It's going to take administrators. It's going to take the politicians. It's going to take parents. It's going to take the students. It's going to take the band. It's going to take everybody, because at the end of the day, we all could be great together.
Yeah.
That's why I'm coming. If we all work together, can't nothing stop us. All greatness come out of Newark. Just look around. All the top athletes come out of Newark. Just look around. Artists, artistry, whatever you want to look, wherever it's all there. Right? We just need to work together to get all of that out of it.
When you say that, it sounds bigger than I even imagined it. Cause you say that, do this, and I hear.
My boy got the.
Yeah. I'm watching. Like when you saying that, you like this, and this to me don't sound like just state championship.
Nah, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's already. This is my story. My story is crazy. My mom and my dad had me. They both went the week where they both had me before they even graduated from high school. So that right there shows you I'm not even supposed to be sitting here today in this position. I'm supposed to be a statistic. You know what I'm saying? I was born to parents that was 17, 18. Mom's still living with her parents. My dad's trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm here from the city. How many instances or how many cases that is in the city? That's probably everybody in the city of Newark. You know? That's just our city. Our city is different than any other place, and that's what makes it special. It breeds grit. It breeds toughness. It breeds thick skin. It breeds that. That's why, right? I know we're gonna get into that, but that's why the big North schools want the inner city kids from North, right? Because they need that, right, to be successful. Without the inner city kid, right? I mean, we don't keep it a buck, right?
Keep it a buck.
I'm keeping it a buck. If all inner city kids stayed within their cities, right, it could be powerful. But at the end of the day, it's to each his own. Everybody, you know, you got to run your race and you got to do what you need to do for your family. I respect all walks of life. I went to St. Peter's Prep. Shout out to Prep for life, all that. But it's bigger than me. I have to go back and help my community with all the knowledge and experience that I have now.
I'm actually glad, you know, for you to come back, you know, to give, because like a lot of kids, like you were saying before, a lot of kids, they want to get out, they go to the private schools, right? But everybody can't go. So to be able to have a guy like Nas Oliver with his experience of being around the guys like Coach Hanson and playing at Tennessee, being around Lane Kiffin and his brother, to be able to come back to give that to the kids in Newark without leaving out, and able to put kids in college without leaving out. One thing I know about Newark, we are like a knuckle up type of city, but it's political as well. So a lot of kids, you could grow up in Newark, elementary, all your life, still live in Newark, go to St. Peter's, go to Don Bosco. The city don't really feel like you from Newark if you don't play in the city.
Hey, kind of piggyback off what Coach Nas is saying. So in my interview process with Shabazz, my interview was pretty much about how Nork are you? I had to prove how Nork I was. and that was kind of, you know, I took it in stride, you know, but it was crazy because it's like, dang. Like,
I'm gonna be real with you. I think that's a legitimate question, and I'm gonna tell you why, right?
It is.
Because, like, you know, what I do right now, you know, I work for the county and I work with, you know, adolescent juvenile Department of Probation, right? And there's certain things that I can do that coworkers just can't do, right? And the reason for that is when you know what it is, you know what it's not. I talk their language, you know. I code switch to fit in with y'all.
Of course.
I become myself when I'm with them, right?
Of course.
And that allows me to yield results that everybody else can't yield. So when you're a coach, you're not only a coach, you're a father figure, you're a teacher now. You're in that building. So in essence, what they're asking you is, how much could these kids relate to you?
Yeah.
Not about your X's and O's. We don't care about that. We can get anybody to do X's and O's. But can you get their attention, hold it, and relate?
This episode is brought to you by Keep It a Buck Clothing. Stay true to yourself and what you wear, and keep it a buck. Ayin.
Down a P. She let me squeeze and she leave cause she keep a P. Private suite, privacy, don't push a P. Purple paint, pink, push a P. Push a P. I'm push a P. Push a P. I'm push a P. Yeah. Push a P. I'm push a P. Push a P. I'm push a P. Yeah. I pop a P. I'm paranoid. I can't sleep with pockets deep. Got rest on me. Why they watching me? I'm push a P. I'm push a P, push a P, I'm push a P.
To be honest with you, Lenny, I think that's what makes me who I am. Because even at St. Peter's Prep, I'm still the same. I never went to St. Peter's Prep as a coach. You can ask my colleagues, you can ask anybody in the prep community. Shout out to Prep, always P4L. I never tried to act like somebody I wasn't. I never tried to act like a Caucasian. I always stayed me. I never did none of that. You know what I'm saying? I was the perfect mix to me. In my mind, I'm the perfect mix between I'm just an educated, you know, young black brother from North. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing. Bilingual. It's nothing I could do about that. But that just stems from my experience and how everything, you know, played out in my life. But I think with me going back to the city of Newark, going back to Shabazz, it's not just going to be about me being a football coach. I'm going to be a mentor for these young guys. And we're going to learn all the things that I learned through my experiences, right? How to brand yourself, what to put on social media, how to dress for an interview, how to shake someone's hands, look them in the eyes, right? That's where I come in at because though that's the thing that get lost in translation, but those are the things that helps you win at life.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. So let me ask you this though, because you said Coach Hansen was like a father figure. Like we talked about the tattoo. Was it a hard decision?
Was it hard? Of course it was hard. I mean, St. Peter's Prep, like that's always gonna be home. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? It was tough to have the conversation with him and Richie, just for the simple fact that I know how much I mean to those guys.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I know how much they genuinely love me. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes things can get lost in translation, and I know they always gonna mean well. I know they want me to be successful, but I just knew it was time, for me to do my own thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Because being honest with you, when I heard the job was up for grabs now, it was a couple guys that I reached out to. And believe it or not, Nas was the last person that I hit on that list. And I won't go through the names. I just felt like, let's get a list of guys that can actually come here and do the job. You know what I'm saying? And when they asked me for who I feel like, said, it's these guys here that I feel like you should interview that I knew out of my side. You know what I mean? They interview other people on their own time too. And I feel like each step of the way, they were more and more like surprised with him. And I guess he went into the final round and just must have blew him out the door because everybody walked out of the thing like, wow, this guy's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And then to hear that, you know, the call on a Sunday, like, oh, this happening. And I'm like, wow, it's happening? And then Nas hit me like, yo, it happened. So, you know, just to see this young, like he said, educated black man from the city of Newark, going away, getting the experience, and then bringing it back, man, it's priceless.
Yeah, not enough of us do that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Because a lot of other guys, we get out, we don't come back.
Yeah. So, all right, so you take the position. Did you sit down and have a talk with the kids at St. Peter's Prep? What was that like?
It was tough. I couldn't really, like how everything is set up at Prep, like I couldn't really get everybody in one central location. So I called everybody I could into one central location. Whoever had class, they was in class, but whoever could show up, show up. But
So
when I go
do this experience, and I know it's not only this experience because like you played at the highest level when we talk about Power 5 football, SEC, right? And what we see, whether it's Deion Sanders leaving, people have an opinion on that. Whether it's Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame right before the playoffs, right? All of it seems foul, right? And then you look at it and you say, well, can I really be mad at a person for upward mobility, right? It's a business. Is that a conversation that you have where you try to help people understand, like, you chasing your dream? Like, St. Peter's Prep was a step towards your dream? Like, because we'll look at Seton Hall Prep, right? Who's the coach?
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald was once a coordinator at St. Peter's, right? And now he has his own program. Like, if you love this game, you go through, you do an apprenticeship, you learn all you can learn, but your goal is to have your own, right? And people that you coach for, like, Hanson, and the kids that you coach, they all love you, right? But love is selfish, right? Because
exactly.
That love is selfish because I love you because I need you.
Yes.
But what about the person I love, doing something to put him and his family?
Yes.
So did you have to break that down to people? You had that conversation?
I had to break it down. I had to talk to the kids about it. I had numerous conversations with Big Hanson, about it. Me and Big Hanson, we went back and forth, but we had a bunch of conversations. And I don't know, like, obviously, prep is what it is, but I think I had to really help him understand, like, this is something I kind of got to do. Like, my last message to him was like, I have to do this. Like, because I feel like it's my call, and I feel like it's my purpose. Like, I could stay at Prep. Like, to be honest with you, Lenny, I didn't seek the Shabazz job. Like, I felt like God kind of called me to this position. You know what I'm saying? So, me breaking it down to people, a lot of people not gonna understand, and I'm so far gone up mentally now. It's just like, if you don't understand, it's like it's okay, because I understand.
And I'm likening you to like the Deion situation, even though it's apples and oranges, but just in the sense that he said, God called me to Jackson State, and everybody was okay with that. Why can't y'all believe God called me to Colorado? You get what I'm saying? But so okay, you take this position. What's your short-term goals and your long-term goals at Shabazz?
So my short-term goals right now, man, like all the parents I've been speaking to, and the conversations I've been having with parents, excuse me, have been, interesting to say the least. Because I open a conversation to kind of gauge and understand what are their expectations of me. So I go from there. But it always revert back to what my expectations of myself is. And my expectations is to develop young men and get them to college. I don't really care about winning state championships, bro. State championships, you put them in a trophy case, they collect dust, right? But molding young men, developing young men, and seeing them be prosper and graduate, get married, start families, and then come back, and then that's what I live. That's what I live for. That's what I love, right? We're gonna win, because I'm a winner, right? But that development piece, that mentorship piece, that's what I'm about.
Gotcha. Can you talk about some of the guys that you got coming along with you?
That's staff.
Like staff?
Yeah.
So right now, Markel Thomas. Markel Thomas, me and Markel, we go back, man.
That name is familiar.
Who is Markel though?
Yes, Markel. So Markel is a graduate of Shabazz. He played offensive line there. They won a state championship 2014, I believe. I think it was their first state championship, 2014.
Yeah.
I think it was their first one. So I met Markel when I was a grad assistant at Virginia Union. He was a player. He was on the offensive line. I was a player. We actually got a picture that I'm gonna end up posting. It was our Jersey crew, and I'm gonna end up posting that. But he's a young bright coach. He was the head coach at Westside last year, who had a really solid year.
2 years there as the head man.
Yeah, 2 years, and I think it was important for me to bring him on because first and foremost, he's a bright young man, and he is Shabazz. He's a strong alum, and I want him to go on this journey with me.
Now you met some of the administrative people there. Like I just want to give you, tell the people about like the AD. We got the AD Noel Cologne, and then we got the principal Ativa Buckman. What did you get out of them?
They want to win. They ready for that.
Are they alum too?
No.
But they're treating it like Bama right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like they're ready. They want results.
Yo, Buckman,
y'all on fertile ground.
Buckman, the principal want results
right now.
Yeah.
See, the one thing that again, I'm not from Jersey. I've been living here for about 11, 12 years now, and I'll listen. I listen to Nas, I listen to Med, I listen. But one thing Nas says that really rings a bell with me is there's so much talent in that area, right? It's ridiculous. That, like he said, even the kids that don't go, they there. Like I'm listening to him all. He's like, "Yo, Len, Weequay got a team that can play with the best of the best out there." I'm like, "No, it's good college, public school." But I go watch these things, and I watch, and I'm like, "Yeah, they physical as hell," So that's a fertile ground, right? But you gotta turn every rock over because they out there, man. They're already out there. I'm
gonna tell you this. I coached that Weequay one season. This is when I first moved back up here from Virginia. And when I tell you, those were the toughest, most talented kids, and that's not against nobody else, not against no other kids I coached, but those kids were different, man. The mentality that they have, kill or be killed. Like, excuse my language, but on that football field, there's nothing stopping them at all. And it's like, that's the energy that I know I'm walking into. That I know that in that locker room, whatever we develop, X's and O's aside, I know they're going to run through a wall for me.
I think that what's most important that your journey has brought you through to bring you here is we have those talented kids with that mentality. Your job is to give them the discipline and the structure.
Yes.
That's what we miss, and that's why we don't win the big one.
And that's why I'm excited. And that's what has me so amped up, because I'm ready to get my hands dirty. I'm ready to work. I'm ready. I know everybody I talk to, this is gonna be a hard job. I know this is. I knew before anything this was gonna be tough, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I want one of the other way.
Yeah. Now that we get into here now, this historic school we at, you know, like he mentioned Weekway, and every Thanksgiving is a big game. It's all the politicians, it's all the alumni. Everybody come back. It's at least 7,000 people there, and they grilling and they eating. But then the game come. Is Weekway versus Shabazz. Are you looking forward to your first meeting, your first Thanksgiving Day game? Because I say that because I know you coach with those guys. I know you know.
Yeah, I know the whole staff.
Yeah, the whole staff.
I know the whole staff, man. Those are my guys. I have that one year I did have with them. It was a hell of a season. I think we went 9-1 or 10-2 or something like that. We ended up losing in the playoffs to Hasbrook Heights on the road. I remember that game like it was yesterday. But, you know, I'm excited to coach against those guys. I'm excited, man. Two good North programs.
Yeah.
Weekway's coming off of a sectional title. Congrats to them. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
But this is going to be, next Thanksgiving is going to be great for the city. It's going to be two great teams squaring off, showcasing their talent. Hopefully I could get, you know, some college coaches in attendance and let's get our kids out there.
That's right. Shout out to Raj J. Baraka, our mayor. This was before they named you the coach. I came out there. I had on a Shabazz basketball jersey and everything. And I'm walking in, and he like, so you over here at Shabazz? I said, yeah. I work at Shabazz now. He said, I don't think you're going to beat Weekway no time soon. I said, yo, word is bond. I cracked up laughing.
Hey, Mayor, I don't remember you said that, Mayor.
Yeah, but this, in his defense, you wasn't named the coach yet, so he probably don't know, you know, Nas Oliver's here. So I just wanted to salute to them because it's dope to have that kind of like rivalry. It brings the city back. And what I want to see with the game is, I know they do like the luncheon, they do it real big. I want to take it even bigger. We want to, you know, take it even bigger with the community and start with the ceasing the violence and all the things in our community and making these young men like the forefront guys of it, showing that we all could come together. We could be at Weekway, we could be at Shabazz, but as long as we helping one another get to the next level and these guys come back, because your future coaches is playing for you now, believe it or not. They the new Nas Olivers and other people like the Logan Juniors and everything who they come through the system, play, go to college, learn something, come back. And I feel like that's why they're successful there, because they have a lot of guys that did it at that level. So now, this to be able to compete with them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I told Nas, anything I could do for the program, I definitely gonna do it, and you know, and go play my part. This is the big man now, you know. So, salute to you, Nas, man. You know, glad to have you on. Lennie, was there anything else that we missed?
What I want to ask you is, do you think that you'll be able to implement the structure that you're used to, and those kids will be able to stand up to it?
I do. You know, you want me to tell you why?
Yes.
University of Alabama does it. University of Tennessee, like all these schools. Where do y'all think most of these kids come from? They come from nothing most of the time. These kids that make it, they come from nothing, right? So, like what I said in my interview, right? I'm gonna make it my business to let my guys know, because this is where it starts. Let my guys know that you have an opportunity and you have a chance to get out and experience more. But you can't strive for something you can't see. I gotta put it in front of them. Like in our weight room sessions, once this recruitment period open up, there will be college coaches
The 19th.
in our weight room. And they probably never seen that before. That's my job. You know, and I think just starting with something as simple as that, to where they can see an attainable goal. Like maybe I can.
Yeah,
play
you gotta
that
see
one
it to
day.
believe it.
Maybe I can do this.
Or when they're doing when the spring come and they got the field workouts and they can actually see these colleges watching them do drills and run through stuff.
That's what I'm bringing. Because, like I told one of my, should I mention his name? Judah.
Yeah.
My lineman was trying to leave me before I even stepped in the door. I ain't gonna put it out there who was trying to steal one of my old linemen, but I told him, like, man, I'm coming here to win. I'm coming here to be high level. I'm not a low level guy. I never was low level at anything. So at the end of the day, just trust in the process, and we're gonna make this thing work.
Hey,
Sell me.
yo, shout out to Nas Oliver, man, for coming through to keep it a buck. First
you, man.
interview of
Appreciate
the
this.
new year
Yeah.
with the Mighty Bulldogs family, man. He did it. Malcolm X Shabazz, Lennie, keep it a buck.
Keep it a
Peace.
buck. I think with me going back to the city of Newark, going back to Shabazz, it's not just going to be about me being a football coach. I'm going to be a mentor for these young guys. And we're going to learn all the things that I learned through my experiences, right? How to brand yourself, what to put on social media, how to dress for an interview, how to shake someone's hands, look them in the eyes, right? That's where I come in at because though that's the thing that get lost in translation, but those are the things that helps you win at life.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.